Hi everyone, it's Tracy Malone. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to cover something because a lot of my clients come onto my channel, estranged parents come onto my channel and say, what are they telling the grandchildren? That's one of their biggest fears. When you have lost your grandchildren, access to them after some time, if even years after being in their lives and ripped away. At first, there's of course anger, and then there's the what are they telling them? Don't they miss me? Do the children understand? Do they think we disappeared? And all of these stories go running through the parent's head because they don't know. It's like how could I sleep at night not knowing what the grandchildren that I loved so much were being told about why we're not there, right? And as you struggle through this and you go through these stages, you become more hopeless and you become more afraid. And you become more afraid of what the grandchildren are hearing about you and if you'll ever be able to repair it, if they even ever come back, right? So I've been gathering the top 10 things. I'm sure there's 1,000 more. These are just the ones that I've heard over the years that are really common and they're disgusting. I'm not going to lie. They are disgusting to even believe that your child could say something like this to the children about you. Heartbreaking, heartbreaking stuff. But the truth is, in the situations of estrangement that I deal with, and that you're probably here for the channel, is when there is a narcissistic partner that is driving the car, driving the situation, and driving the narrative, if you would. So they've got to turn, everyone against you so that they're the only one standing, and then they get to control everything. So let's look at some of those because I think you might have heard them, you might have thought them, you might have worried about them, right? But we have no control over anything that gets said to your grandchildren, to your child. So let's just go over these and maybe you'll get some validation. Maybe you'll go, oh my goodness, that sounds like us, or that was our greatest fear. I don't want to put the greatest fears in your head because, of course, they could be saying absolutely nothing. They could just be saying they moved. But when the kids get older, they tend to go, well, if they moved, how come they can't call us anymore? How come we don't do FaceTimes with them? They will start to catch on to this. But as we look at it, the first one I have on my list is grandma and grandpa don't love us, right? And when they tell your grandchildren something like this, it creates emotional distance and confusion, right? They, the kids are struggling to understand why you disappeared and then to be told that you don't love them is an abandonment wound they're causing their child. It's crazy to think that they would be willing to do something as evil and horrible as this because it's to the children, not just you. They're the losers. The children are the losers, missing out on a grandparent that loves them and wants them in their life, right? Number two is they don't want to see you. So when grandparents are blocked from visiting, children are, we're told that the parents chose to stay away, right? And this sort of protects the parents' narrative, but it's putting all the blame on the grandparents. Oh, they don't want to see you, which sounds like it's going on the grandchildren. But if you think about it, the grandchildren are absorbing, what did I do wrong? Why don't they want to see me? It will be a future question in their mind that will be hard to understand depending on how old they are, right? Little ones will probably forget it and move on, but older ones are going to hold on to it with some shame or guilt. What did I do? Did I do something wrong? And so they're really screwing up your kids with these. Number three is they were mean to mommy and daddy, right? And this puts the grandparents in the place of a villain in the family story. And so the child then naturally wants to protect their parents. It's almost like cause and effect right now. This is what it is, and the parents are the villain, and the children want to protect their parents. So, okay, we'll write them off. They don't know that it's not normal for people to just be erased. Oh, okay, they're gone. I had a friend in kindergarten, I don't see her anymore. Okay, that's life, right? But they're stealing their future, right? The other one that I hear a lot is they don't respect our family. And the reframing of normal disagreements as betrayal and that you don't respect them starts to make the kids feel like the grandparents are outsiders. Oh, they don't respect our family. Off with your head. What is this teaching children? It's teaching people if you have disagreement, and then all of a sudden they don't respect our family. Who does that? Who does that to children? I want to know. Um, the other one is they try to hurt our family. Now, since children don't really understand what hurt our family means, right? The narrative can escalate into portraying the grandparents as dangerous. And then the children have fear about reconnecting because that's been planted in their head. Again, no reason any of this should be even legal to do to children, but it's happening. And then they only care about themselves, right? This erases the child's years of love, years of care, and years of involvement that the grandparents have given. And it's like, oh, they just care about themselves. In fact, that just means we don't care about you. And again, to the child, the blame and the things that they will live with for the rest of your life. Did I do something wrong? They only care about themselves, but they seem to love me. Why aren't they here? Those questions will never be answered unless they grow up and reach out, or you get reconciled. The other one that's very similar to that is they chose other people over us. Ooh, that's a good one for kids to hear, right? This means that the grandparents, you know, have abandoned the whole family. It's not just them. Oh, they've chosen other people. It's the same thing. They only care about themselves. All of these are not true, but they have to have something to tell the children because they will ask for you. And so this is one that I think is, again, really, really unhealthy. They say to the children, oh, grandma and grandpa aren't healthy people. And it's using therapy language, and children don't know what this means. Not healthy, like an apple's healthy. That's what they learn. They don't understand what not healthy people mean. They may even throw in terms like toxic, abusive, or manipulative, right? If you think about those words, now the child is trying to understand this, and when they hear toxic or anything like that later in their life, they're going to equate it to these grandparents that love them so much. Yet it didn't matter. They don't love them anymore. It's also teaching them that people can love you and disappear, get used to it, which is a very, very bad thing. And we know that's not going to sit well for the children. Another one is when they flip it to be that this is what they would tell them. They don't deserve to see you. Huh, what does deserve them? Does this mean that they have to earn your love? You have to. It just is such a sick thing. This positions the parents as protecting the child from harm. Harm? How about loving grandparents that just want to read a book to them and laugh and giggle and have a nice relationship, right? But then children feel loyalty to their parents to agree. And all of these get absolved into the child's head that something's wrong with them. Here's another one. You're better off without them. This is number 10 in my list here. And if it is repeated often enough, gaslit to the children, it starts to normalize estrangement, and the children may stop asking questions about the grandparents altogether because you're better off without them. What does that even mean to a 5-year-old, right? Doesn't mean anything. And what you need to understand is why these are so powerful. Children naturally trust their parents. So when they hear these messages repeated, remembering gaslighting is repeated over and over. So I'm sure your grandchildren have asked for you 1,000 times and they just keep amplifying it, right? But that's what their goal is. So what you need to remember, even when they hear these negative stories, love and memories are powerful. As they grow older, they're going to ask different questions and they may seek out their own understandings of what happened in their family. The kindness, the patience, and the love that grandparents hold for them can still matter in the future, as well as those, you know, memories that all the grandparents are, will they remember? Do they remember? All of that is always part of it. My grandfather died when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I can remember distinctly the times I shared with him. And many grandparents are like, well, I only saw them till age 2 or 3, and I never saw them again. Hold on to that they may remember, and let's hope they never forget. Um, so if we are looking at reconciliation coming along one day, these are the narratives that you could potentially hear. Now, they're not going to tell you what they did or what they said or how they twisted your love to their children, because narcissists don't do that. But what you need to understand is you have no control over anything that they're saying, and it hurts to even fathom what they could possibly say. But I want you to know there is hope on the other side. There are reconciliations. There are times when the kids come back, when the grandchildren come back in your life. So please, whatever you do, don't give up hope that things will get better. Your child will get smarter and see the narcissistic spouse for who they are. And then they'll be back calling, Mom, Dad, I need help. So hold on to that hope. Hold on to that dream that they knock on your door or call you and say, help me. Because I wouldn't be a divorce coach if people didn't divorce these guys and girls. So hold on to whatever you need to hold on to. You'll never really know what they say about you. But those are some of the common ones. They're not good and they do a lot of damage to the children. So this is Tracy Malone. If you are navigating estrangement, I have my book, Estranged by Lies, How Narcissistic Partners Use Power and Control to Destroy Your Family. And I have this 300-page journal full of all these self-reflecting questions, prompts to understand your emotions, to help you regulate the pain that you're in every single day. So this is Tracy Malone. If you need some help, if you are going to go see your adult child and negotiate and talk to them, you don't want to make a mistake. I coach people all over the world and I can help you through this, help you plan that conversation, help you navigate this particularly difficult journey. Again, my website is narcissistabusesupport.com. It's right down below. Every 6 weeks, I run a parenting group and I educate parents, teach them emotional regulation. Teach how to talk when they come back, teach how to not make another mistake. And those groups are starting all the time. So you can find them on my site, narcissistabusesupport.com. The link is down below, and I'll see you on the next video.